Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihare Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivana Dari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivana Dari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihare Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivana Dari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivana Dari Solanandana Pratijana Ranjana Jasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihare Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivana Dari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivana Dari Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasodanandana Braja Jana Jasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Srimad Srimad His Divine Grace, the A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki, Ananda Gauri Vaisnava Ki Jai, Namacharya, Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Samakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan ki jai. Shri Vrindavan ki jai. Shri Maya Pranavidam ki jai. Ganga Maya ki jai. Jamuna Maya ki jai. Tulsi Devi ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Somveda Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Transcendental Book Distribution ki jai. Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. All glorious summer devotees, all glorious summer devotees, all glorious summer devotees, all glorious Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. So today is the disappearance day of Rupa Goswami. So there's many wonderful pastimes of Rupa Goswami. He was one of the dear associates of Srimati Radharani. His name was in Goloka Vrindavan is Rupa Manjari. And Sanatana Goswami, his brother also. I forgot, what was his name? Subanga? Lavanga? Maybe. Anyway. But Rupa Goswami is, Prabhupada mentions in one purport that he's the most intelligent person on the planet. Of course, with the exception of Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, and Vaishnava Acharyas, the Vishnu Tattvas. But he wrote 100,000 verses about the pastimes of Krishna. So many books. The most famous book, of course, is Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Upadesamrita, also a very famous book. So he is great personality. And not only amongst the devotees was he known as being very exalted, but unfortunately the Muslim leader at the time also heard of his capabilities. So he blackmailed Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami that if you don't come and work under me, government servants, then I'm going to harass the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas like anything. And that's why him and his brother became government servants under the Nawab Hussain Shah. Because some there's like such great devotees, but they were under this rascal. He was actually a big rascal. But when they got word of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they wanted to get his association, and they did. And eventually they just decided that we can't work under this Nawab Hussain Shah anymore. They decided that they had to escape. So Rupa Goswami, somehow he just retired and left. But for some reason, Sanatana Goswami, it wasn't such an easy thing. So he called in sick, but he was actually getting the association of the Vaishnavas and the Brahmanas, and when the Nawab Hussain Shah found out, he put him in prison, not as a punishment, just so that he wouldn't get away, because he knew he's got plans. He wants to leave. So it was an amazing pastime of how he escaped. Actually, Rupa Goswami, he was very wealthy, extremely wealthy. So it's described that he gave 50% of his wealth to the Brahmanas and the Vaishnavas. 25% he gave to relatives, and 25% he kept for himself for whatever use. But that use was to get Sanatana Goswami out of jail. So, proper utilization of Lakshmi. So Lord Chaitanya, he instructed Rupa Goswami for 10 days, and it was from that this amazing book Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu came out, Nectar of Devotion, which is one of our main Prabhupada said, if you just read these 5 books, Bhagavad Gita, or is it 4? 4. Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Yeah, those 4. Those 4 books, you don't need anything else. So, Rupa Goswami's book is in that very important 4 books. So there's one verse that is the most famous. Who knows, besides Dravida, the most famous. Anyabilasita sunyam jnana karmanyana anoko yena krishnana silam bhakti uttama. That devotional service, pure devotional service, means completely void. Sunya means void. Completely void, devoid of all desire for material sense gratification. And devoid of all speculation and desire to enjoy the fruits of one's activities. Anyabilasitasun jnana karmadhyanavartam, not covered, not covered by this contamination. Anyabilasitasun jnana karmadhyana anukoyena, unmotivated, just anukoyena krishnanu, favorable devotional service. Anukoyena krishnanu. Anukuyasya sankapa pratikuyasya varjana, that verse, famous verse. That devotional service means to engage in favorable devotional service to Krishna. So anukuyena krishnanu silam bhakti uttama. So this is the highest, uttama, bhakti uttama. This is the highest level of devotional service, where you just want to please Krishna. And another one, another famous verse, where he describes Lord Chaitanya, Namo Maha Varanyaya Krishna Prema Daide Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Nani Gora Tushe Namaha. So Lord Chaitanya, he is the most munificent incarnation of Krishna. Namo Maha Varanyaya. Varanyaya means delivering. So he is the highest deliverer of the conditioned souls. Namo Maha Varanyaya Krishna Prema, because he's freely given out. Krishna Prema Padayate. Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gora Tushe Namah. He's taken on this golden form of Srimati Radharani. So there's one instance one pastime where he was in Vrindavan. Lord Chaitanya sent him and Sanatana Goswami to Vrindavan to many of the holy places have been lost, so to excavate these lost holy places. So there was practically nobody there. They didn't even know where the Radhakund was. Lord Chaitanya, he found the Radhakund. It was just some little puddle of water, and Lord Chaitanya, he's the omniscient Lord, so he knew. And he was dancing in this puddle, and I go, what's he? So he excavated Radhakund. So gradually more and more people started coming, and there was a scholar who he would go around and he would challenge. It's like here in America, a big thing is boxing or wrestling or now ultimate fighting. So these are the challenges, people challenge in these different. But in India, the big thing was scholarship. They would challenge, and if they defeated somebody, then you'd get their signature. So this one scholar went to Vrindavan. He heard Rupa Goswami was there, Sanatana Goswami. He's famous as a great scholar, Rupa Goswami at that time already. So he challenged Rupa Goswami. He said, "No, I don't want to challenge. I don't want to debate." Okay, well then sign here that you've been defeated because you won't debate with me. All right, so he signed his name. And then Jiva Goswami, he went to Jiva Goswami. He was also a famous scholar. He wanted to debate. He said, "No, well, Rupa Goswami here. I have Rupa Goswami's signature. He defeated." So Jiva Goswami just said, "This rascal. I'm going to humble this guy." Because he's actually Prabhupada mentions that it's even blaspheme. So Prabhupada says that a devotee himself, he's not He's not concerned about his own reputation, but if someone blasphemes Krishna or his devotee, then it becomes like fire. So Jiva Goswami completely smashed this guy, completely humiliated him, humbled him. But then when Rupa Goswami found out that he debated with this so-called scholar, Rupa Goswami became very upset. So he sent him away. So they were in Vrindavan, so I think he went to Mathura, right? I think he went to Mathura. So he was gone for a year. So Sanatana Goswami finally went to Rupa Goswami and said, Rupa Goswami, a devotee is jivadoya. Means compassionate to the jivas. So you should be compassionate to jiva. Let him come back. So he allowed him to come back. And it's described, Prabhupada says that when Rupa Goswami left his body, then Jiva Goswami, he became the most intelligent. He was also a great, great, great scholar. So, Prabhupada mentions that we're all Rupanugas, followers of Rupa Goswami. Now there's some people in Vrindavan, they imitate Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. They go around in loincloths. But all kinds of nefarious activities going on, it's a show. The Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami were very, very exalted devotees, and he had this one temple built. It was 7 stories high. Many of us have seen that. Beautiful, beautiful temple. But there was some Muslim leader that Aurangzeb, who didn't like that. What was it? He was keeping. He was looking out and he saw this light that was moving over the stars. What is that? Oh, that's light. It was in the temple. Oh, so this Aurangzeb, he thought there was a star there, but it was a light coming from that temple. 3 or 4 stories. He was so envious. Such a rascal. Now I think there's 3 or 4 stories still there. Yeah. So, and then Sanatana Goswami also, the Madan Mohan temple. So Rupa Goswami is such a great, great Vaisnava. And he reasons ill who say that Vaisnavas die while still living in sound. The Vaisnavas die to live. Living spread the holy name around. So we're very fortunate. We still get the association of Rupa Goswami from reading his books. Can you get the book on different Vaisnavas? Samadhis? There might be something in there about Gauri Das Pandit. There is, okay. I couldn't find it in... for some reason my database isn't working properly. Yeah. You want to open it up to Gauri Das Pandit? Rupa Goswami ki jai. Anyabhilasata sunyam gana karma janavatam anakoyena krishnanu silanam bhakti uttama stapitam jena bhutale swayam rupa gadamayam dadati swapadantikam. Okay, that's Gopal Bhatta. We're looking for Gauri Das Pandit. Huh? Oh, I see. Okay. Gauri Das Pandit, the emblem of the most elevated devotional service and love of Godhead, had the greatest potency to receive and deliver such love, making Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda the lords of his life. Gauri Das Pandit sacrificed everything for the service of Lord Nityananda. Before taking sannyas, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda visited Gauri Das Pandit in Ambika Kalna, featuring their fearing their impending separation, Gauridas cried and begged the Lord to stay longer. Mahaprabhu made life like neemwood deities of Gaurnitai to console his loving servant Gauridas. My Murti form is as good as I am, said Lord Gauranga. We will forever remain in your home to accept your service. Wow. I wonder if those are the first Murtis ever. Probably the first Murtis ever. Gauridas Pandit worshipped Gaurnitai in many intimate ways, talking sweetly to them, cooking a variety of tasty foods, discussing Shastra with them, attending to their every need throughout the day. Even when old and feeble, Gauridas Pandit ceaselessly served his worshipful Lord Sri Sri Gaurnitai. Although poor, he desired to decorate Gaurnitai with costly, beautiful ornaments. Knowing his mind, Gaur-Nityananda lavishly adorned themselves. Wow, dressed themselves. Okay. Beholding their exquisite beauty, Gauridas became astonished. Where did they get these ornaments? He thought. Sri Sri Gaurnitai would often enact such transcendental pastimes in the home of their pure devotee, Sri Gauridas Pandit. One time, Chaitanya Das, Gauridas' foremost disciple, organized a huge Sankirtan festival on the bank of the Ganges. Enraptured by the kirtan, Gauridas' deities jumped off the altar and joined the devotees in chanting and dancing. These are extraordinary deities. Jumped off the altar. Discovering the deities missing from the temple, Gauridas grabbed a stick and ran to catch Gaurnitai. Seeing his angry mood, Gaurnitai vanished. At that moment, Gauridas watched in amazement to see Gaurnitai enter the heart, Hridaya, of Chaitanya Das. Gauridas embraced his beloved disciple, bathed him with tears, and said, "You are the most fortunate. From today, your name will be Hridaya Chaitanya." Wow, what a pastime, huh? The deities jumped into the heart of Hridaya Chaitanya. Okay. One who holds, that means one who holds Sri Chaitanya within his heart. Since then, Gaurnitai's darshan at Gauridas Pandit's temple is offered in many brief intervals, like Banka Bihari in Vrindavan. They're afraid he's going to jump off the altar again. To keep Gaurnitai from jumping off the altar, the pujaris open and quickly close the curtain throughout the darshan time. While doing bhajan in Dear Samira Kunj in Vrindavan, Gauridas Pandit entered the eternal Gocharna Lila, cow-herding pastimes of Krishna Balaram. In Vraj, he is Subal, a Dvada Das Gopal. His samadhi is within the Syama Roy temple compound in Dear Samira, Vrindavan. Wow. Yeah. Dvadasha Gopal. Oh, okay, very nice. Yeah, thank you. Oh, Gauridas Pandit Ki Jai. Wow, amazing personality. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So it's late. Should I just go ahead and read it and go on? Maybe you could just chant once, we'll just chant once and go on. Okay. Prakara Rupa Vanatala Parikar Aksha Taranai Savana Ro Pyaya Sai Singai Sankulang Sarvato Grahai. That was a tongue twister. Okay. Prakara walls. Upavana, parks. Utala, towers. Pariktai, with trenches. Aksha, windows. Toranai, with gates. Swarna, gold. Raupya, silver. Ayasai, made of iron. Shringai, with domes. Shankalam, congested. Sarvataha, everywhere. Grahai, with houses. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki. That city was surrounded by walls and parks, and within it were towers, canals, windows, and outlets. The houses there were decorated with domes made of gold, silver, and iron. This analogy gets really amazing. Purport. The body is protected by walls of skin. The hairs on the body are compared to parks, and the highest parts of the body, like the nose and the head, are compared to towers. The wrinkles and depressions on different parts of the body are compared to trenches or canals. The eyes are compared to windows, and the eyelids are compared to protective gates. The three types of metal, gold, silver, and iron, represent the three modes of material nature. Gold represents goodness, silver, passion, and iron, ignorance. The body is also sometimes considered to be a bag consisting of three elements, three dhatu, mucus, bile, and air, kapha, pitta, and vayu. Yayatma buddhi kunapeta dhatuke. According to the Srimad Bhagavatam 10.84.13, that's spoken by Krishna, by the way, one who considers this bag of mucus, bile, and air to be the self is considered to be no better than a cow or an ass. Krishna's pretty heavy, huh? Om Jnanatavadhantasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshram Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Mukram Krotavachalam Pungunlang Hayate Gurim Yat Kripa Taraham Vande Sri Gurum Dinataranam Vanchakalpatribhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patitanam Bhavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasri Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Did I say Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya? I did, okay. So, this analogy is quite interesting. The skin compared to a wall. And this is one of the things that's attractive both for the male and the female. The male sees the skin of a woman, he becomes attracted, wants to touch. Similarly, the woman sees the skin of the man, but it's just a wall. It's just a wall that eventually, as it says here, it gets trenches, gets old and wrinkled. I'm getting into that stage now. And you know, as the hands get older, the fat gets skin thinner. Yeah. And you know, like when you're a baby, you grab the skin and it's very thick. As you get older, it becomes thinner and thinner. And the trenches, like in between your fingers, they go down. Become trenches. Yeah. So nobody likes wrinkles. There's this thing that people, you take a shot, and it's supposed to remove the, Botox. It's poison, is it? But it's the most popular thing for removing wrinkles, right? It's amazing. They'll take poison even to remove the wrinkles. You know, even they'll kill themselves. And then there's another way. I don't know if they still have it. The plastic surgery, facelifts. You know. That's why Davida still looks young. He just admitted he had it. That's funny. So yeah, people have these facelifts. Sometimes you see them in the airport and you're just doing your books, and their face looks stretched, and it looks very unusual. It looks like an ET, It looks very unusual. Just try to get rid of those wrinkles. And nobody likes old age. It's like it's interesting to hear the hair is compared to like the trees in the forest, and in the universal form, the trees are the hair. So it's in the reverse on these little bodies here. Now, it's a very common thing that when us males, when we get old, the hair falls out. Sometimes women also, but not so much, isn't it? Not so much. Yeah, a little bit. Okay, we have it's thinning. It's thin. Yeah, you get thinner. And sometimes you see also it comes out. Also, I had one friend. Whenever a gray hair would come, pluck it out. Pluck it out. Now with us men, for devotees, it's not a big deal. The hair falling out just means we cut off less, right? It's easier. It takes less time. I remember when I first joined when I was 22. It took so long to shave up. Now it's like 5 minutes. It's like it's no problem. And when I was younger, I had the sika. It's where it was supposed to be, up here, right? But as I got older, it slides down. So now it's way down. It's sliding down. I call it the senior citizen sika. Slides down. So this is old age. Nobody wants this old age. People want to stay young because that's the nature of the soul. We have our swarup. In the spiritual world, everybody has their swarup. Nobody gets old there. There's no gray hair, no wrinkles. Everybody is young. Of course, Krishna has his parents, but they don't get old. They get to a certain level of oldness, and then that's it. And Krishna, he never looks older than what? 16. Very attractive. So this is the spiritual world. So this is something that we have to look forward to. Now here in the purport, Prabhupada, he mentions this gold, silver, and iron. They represent different modes of nature. Now, unfortunately, in this age of Kali, there's not much goodness and not much, actually, there's passion, but mainly there's a lot of ignorance. A lot of ignorance permeated throughout the world. Is this mode of ignorance. Prayana payapasa kalavas minijyedana munda samunda matya munda bhagyu padrita. In this age of Kali, people are short-lived, always lazy, misguided, unlucky, above all, always disturbed. So in this age, people are lazy. Not materially. I mean, some people, they're out there working 2-3 jobs, working so hard just to maintain. But spiritually, people are quite lazy. This is a problem. Prabhupada gives an example of lazy intelligence, active intelligence, lazy intelligence, and lazy fool. Now, lazy intelligence is Prabhupada, he gives the example of like a high court judge. He's just sitting there, and he's making so many decisions, and he's getting paid so much, just for giving an opinion. So this is lazy intelligence. And Prabhupada said the Brahmana is like that. He chants, he hears, and he gives advice. Lazy intelligence. And he gives another interesting example of a king who had many ministers. And there was one minister that was, I guess he was considered to be the prime minister. And he was making a lot more money. Other ministers, they were also ministers, but they weren't making as much money. They also weren't getting as much facility. So they complained to the king that, why is this? That he's making so much more money than us. He's getting so much more facility. Well, why is this? So the king said, well, I'll think about this. Okay. And then he saw him sometime later, and he said to the ones that were envious of the other, weigh an elephant. We have a royal elephant here. Weigh it. Tell me how much it weighs. And they all thought, how are we going to weigh an elephant? They didn't have a clue. Didn't even try. Just, how are you going to weigh an elephant? So then he told his prime minister, weigh our elephant. Okay. So this is in the morning. He came back in the evening. He gave the exact amount of how much it weighed. And the king was impressed. Well, how'd you do that? Well, we had the royal gorge, so I just put the elephant there. When the elephant was on, I marked where the water was, the water level. Then I told some of the people there, put 5-pound bags of rice on there, and when it got to a certain level, then I knew how much. So the king then told the other ministers, this is why he's the prime minister. This is why he's getting more than you. So, lazy intelligence. Then there's the lazy fool. That he gets guidance from the lazy intelligence person, the Brahmana. So that's the Kshatriya. Yeah. He's also intelligent, but he's active intelligent. He follows the instructions of the Brahmana. And then there's the lazy fool. He's a businessman. He makes a lot of money, but he gives direction also. But his idea is just money. He just wants money. So lazy intelligence. And then the lazy fool is the person who's working for the Vaishya. So Prabhupada says, just like if you have a monkey in the neighborhood, everybody's like, as soon as someone sees a monkey, you get a stick, because he's an active fool. He's an active fool. Always, as soon as you see a monkey, everybody look out. He's going to take something or cause some disturbance, right? So this is the active fool, which is unfortunate. We have a lot of them in the world now. And therefore there's so much chaos throughout the world. So in this purport, Prabhupada also mentions this very important verse that he mentions in the 10th canto. Yasyatma buddhi kunapedra dhatuke swadikalatara saboma ijati yat tirta buddhi soledena karja janeso dhesha seva gukura. So whoever thinks of this body, which is made of bile, mucus, and air, to be the self, who thinks that the place where he was born is worshipable, who goes to the holy places, not to hear from these saintly people, but just to take bath, was no better than a cow or an ass. Yeah. So this human form of life is meant to inquire. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. It's meant to inquire about what is the goal of life? Why am I here? Who am I? Am I this body? Am I something different? Is there something higher? Is there some higher goal in life? Prabhupada said an intelligent person asks 3 questions. Why am I here? What's the goal of life? What's going to happen at the time of death? So these are the questions of an intelligent person. So one becomes intelligent by hearing from those who are intelligent. It's like Krishna, he is the most intelligent. So therefore we hear from Bhagavad Gita, we hear from Srimad Bhagavatam, we hear from the devotees who are also very intelligent. Now sometimes people think that if someone has a PhD or many PhDs, He's very intelligent. But what does the word intelligent mean? Anybody know? Besides Dravida, Prabhupada gives a definition of intelligence. Who sees things in the proper perspective. This is the definition Prabhupada gives of intelligence. To see things in their proper perspective. In other words, to see what is matter, what is spirit, who the controller of both is, and how to engage everything in the service of Krishna. Everything that can be utilized in the service of Krishna, in his service. So this is intelligence. And Prabhupada was the best. He just knew how to utilize everything in the service of Krishna. It's like there was one instance where back in the early days, 1966, Prabhupada was attracting youth to him. And he was explaining how everything should be utilized in the service of Krishna. And sometimes devotees, out of appreciation of Srila Prabhupada, they would bring gifts to him. And especially at the initiation, he said, you should bring something. So one boy, he brought a rug, a dirty rug. It was like one of his prized possessions. He had it for so long. It was one of the things he was most attached to. So he thought, well, I should give to Prabhupada what I'm most attached to. So he gave it to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada looked at it and he said, this thing is useless. What am I going to do with it? But, yeah, he said, this is useless. So the boy felt kind of bad, but he left it there. And then the next day the boy came, and Prabhupada was using it as like a mat for people to sit on. So Prabhupada utilized it properly. And there was one instance where there was somehow somebody got some pamphlets of some bogus guru. And they were there in the ashram or something, and Prabhupada said, what is this? Oh, they were giving these out, and some devotees took them. And Prabhupada said, put them on the floor, we'll use them to eat off of. We'll use them as plates. So utilize everything that can be utilized in the service of Krishna. So Prabhupada was so expert, and Prabhupada was so frugal. It's like he got some huge donation, like 10 lakhs of Lakshmi, some huge donation. This is back in the early 70s. So Prabhupada asked Shrutakirti, what is more expensive, to take a rickshaw to the bank from here, or to send a letter to the bank? I mean, each of them cost, I think one cost 5 pice and the other one cost 7 pice or something. Back when we were using pice. Huh? You read 50? 50 paisa. What about the other one? Oh wait, so one was 125, 1 rupee 25 pice, and the other one was 75 pice. So he chose the 75 pice. Which one was 75 pice? Do you remember which one was 75? The mailing was cheaper, so he mailed the check. Oh, okay. Okay. So just see how. So just see how frugal Prabhupada. This is like a lot of money, and Prabhupada. I mean, a pice. We don't even hear about pices anymore. It's just rupees. There's no pice anymore, right? So back then, the set pice was small. Practically nobody used pice even back then. But Prabhupada was so conscious of every penny that was being utilized in Krishna's service. So we should also we should be frugal. It's Krishna's money. We shouldn't be wasteful. We should learn from that. So, is there any question, comments? Yes, Travida Prabhu. The microphone is coming.
I don't know if I mentioned this already, different class. But anyway, it's worth noting, this verse, Yasyatma buddhi kunapepi dhatake, probably refers to here.
Yes.
He quoted that a lot, as you mentioned.
Very famous.
But the interesting context of that is that was spoken at Kurukshetra,
right?
When Krishna was at Kurukshetra. And Vasudeva was there, and he was performing these sacrifices. And all these, these great munis and yogis and bhaktas, came in from all over the universe because Krishna's there, So all the exalted souls, and Narada was there and everything. So Vasudeva says, "Oh, this is my great chance." I mean, this is what you do when you get a chance to see them. You question them. What can I do, to achieve God realization? What's sadhya sadhana? What's the goal of life? How do I achieve? So they were dumbfounded. They didn't say anything because Krishna is his son, Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he's asking for us advice. So Krishna is playing along. This verse, describes material consciousness, obviously in different ways, But the commentators, if I recall, is that Krishna is taking the role there of a attached householder. He's got his 16,108 queens with him and everything, And so he's also joining in with his father and asking for guidance, and he's saying, implying here that this is our mentality. Yasyatma buddhi kunapepi. So it's quite interesting, how he plays along with the whole idea, so that the sages will also, instruct.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, Prabhu. Vaikuntha. Das.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. Just a quick comment on your last point about being frugal. Some years back, a really wealthy Indian man, they were actually billionaires. They had helped build the Delhi temple, and he was visiting SanDiego. Is it Hinduja? Is that the family? They're from England?
Those are Hindujas, yeah.
Yeah, Dalchand, his name was Dalchand Hinduja. Anyway, he and his wife were here, and we had started a program. It was like a sponsor a day where the cost of running the puja was divided by running the whole temple really was divided by 365. So this pious man, said that, well, we could have this fundraiser, and anybody who gives, I'll match. So, that's a very popular format. So we invited all of the congregational members, and he was going to be the presiding sort of guest, and he would match any, if we got 100 days sponsored, he'd sponsor the other 100. And he actually continued, I think, for 2 or 3 years. But anyway, we were driving, and he was staying at the Hotel del Coronado across the bridge there. And so Prangavin and I were driving him, back and forth. So we're coming over the bridge to Coronado from the temple, and all of a sudden he says, "Go to the right, go to the right," And like we're the local people, so we, we did what he said, and then what it was because it was carpool lane, save $1. So this guy gave like $4 million to build Delhi. He was going to sponsor so many days for our temple, but he knew how to save $1. I was very impressed. He was actually a billionaire.
Amazing. That's probably how he became a billionaire.
Gave generously to Krishna's service.
Yeah, nice. Okay. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki?